Welcome to Stanford. So I'd like to start with the two of you just at a personal level. Not a personal question, but at a more personal level. We've heard about MotoGP, but I'm really interested for each of you. This is a very high commitment activity you've dedicated your life to. Why racing? What got you involved in racing? Stefan?
Well, I mean, I started racing because I got, when I was, I think, 2 or 3 years old, I got the first impressions because my father was a former successful racer, and that's why I got inspired by that very, very early in my life. And after that, I was not really interested because I really started to play football and did some other things with not really interested in motorsport. And after that, I could I started to think about it when I was about 12 years old, and I thought to just let's have a try on racing a bike, and that's how everything started, and that's how I got to the racing and to the MotoGP World Championship.
I'm really curious because if you look at Formula One or MotoGP or other series, we're starting to see a lot of second generation or third generation racers who had a successful father. Not that many of them actually make it. What's been the difference for you, do you think, in being able to get to the top level?
It's really hard to achieve to that level. I mean, to be one of the best riders in MotoGP is already something really high, and without the support of my family, especially without the support of my father, he really had a lot of experience. It would be not possible to be here, and you have to be talented. You have to be lucky sometimes, and the most important thing is to be healthy and to be okay all the time. To don't get any bad injury.
We're hearing a lot about passion, and it's something you just need to do. And in putting together this session, Riley and I really wanted to emphasize this idea of, embrace, that we're getting out there and embracing something that's difficult and dangerous, but really worthwhile, that makes life interesting. So in trying to prepare for this thing, I tried to, what's the definition of risk? And I found a bunch of very boring definitions. And then I found a really nice quote from an Italian gentleman. And in honor of Lucio, I thought I'd just read the quote from this famous Italian. So here it is. All courses of action are risky, so prudence is not in avoiding danger, it's impossible, but calculating risk and acting decisively. Make mistakes of ambition and not mistakes of retreat. Develop the strength to do both things, not the capacity to suffer. And that, of course, is from the very famous Italian, or at least Florentine, Niccolo Machiavelli. So he said that many centuries ago. But I thought, this is great. He's a racer, right? He's getting out there. And I think one of the differences between normal people and racers, and I think the people you meet in Silicon Valley, the entrepreneurs and the builders, is that instead of seeing risk as something to run away from, you see it as an opportunity. And so I'm interested in, you as a CEO, what are all the things that can go wrong for you on a week like this? And then how do you go about dealing with them or preventing them from happening? What's your approach to risk in the course of running a team like LCR?
Well, by our side, we try to, of course, to have our approach during the race weekend as much professional as possible. So first of all, we try to commit and we try to be very focused in the motorbike preparation. Of course, we work with Honda, and we work with a very, very experienced group of work. So the bike, it's very well checked and very well maintained. We also try to, let's say, to keep our rider in the best condition as possible. So try to, of course, to organize his travel around the world in a most comfortable way. We try to provide for the best facilities on track, because, of course, the concentration, and the the focus of the rider is fundamental to avoid risk. So all what we can do, of course, it's to, let's say, also to provide to the rider the best safety equipment, the best technical supplier. We try to take care about all those areas.
So as a manager and a leader of this team, I can imagine that you have a rider who's always going out and trying to push the limit. How do you help all the people working for you also get to that edge in whatever they're not doing, and not be too conservative or not to be too aggressive?
Yeah.
In terms of what
well, it's a big task as always, because of course, you know, we need to always to be very nearby to the limit, you know, but not overtake. And this is the biggest task we have. And let's say that, you know, of course we are human, and so sometimes we do mistakes, you know, and we make some mistake, and by the technical side, maybe having done maybe some technical setup which is wrong, because we wanted to, you know, to look only for the performances. But for sure, it's you know, more and more. I mean, our team is composed by a lot of experienced people, and we try to analyze as much as possible all the factors, you know, the key factors, and we try to came out with a final decision. Also, very often involving the rider as well, because at the end he's on the bike. So sometimes when we have to, for example, to take some risk with the tire choice, or we have to use a special tire pressure, or some kind of suspension setup, we always try to make a lot of internal meetings. Yeah.
How about for you, Stefan? I think when we see you racing on TV, it's easy to think, you know, he gets up in the morning and he gets on his motorcycle and goes and races. But obviously, there's a lot of things that happen in a week like this that are anything but being on the motorcycle. How do you keep yourself prepared in order to go out there and get to the limit? What do you do for yourself?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, you have to be fit. You have to be in a good physical condition, because especially mental side it's really, you need to be focused all the time. It's 45. Our races are 45 minutes, and the physical condition, it must be perfect, and also always still some gap to have to be focused all the time, to don't think about anything else. And yeah, my race weekend starts, most of the time it starts already Wednesday when we arrive to the circuit. I will go to check the lap by scooter and those things. Also, I prepare myself with special food, and I always have my same plan how I go through a race weekend. Mm-hmm. Wake up in the morning and then warming up my body before I jump on the bike, and yeah, to be like the team is, like they prepare my bike, they're warming up the bike, they're warming up the tires, and so I have to prepare my body in a similar condition.
Is there anything you do, you know, between the time when you get your leathers on and when you get your helmet on before you get to the bike? What are you doing from a mental standpoint and emotional standpoint to get yourself ready on the pre-grid?
I think it's different from rider to rider, but basically my plan I'm really interested with what is our plan, especially for the next session. Mm-hmm. On Friday when we are in Laguna, 5 minutes before the session, I will ask my chief mechanic a lot of things. I mean, which tires we have, which standard bike setup, which electronic mappings, and this kind of stuff. And so that I get a lot of information, and then I will do the first laps on the circuit, and then I have I come back to the pits, and then I can tell them, we have to make a different setup here in turn 5, and these things we go corner by corner, and but there is nothing special. I'm really interested to know, especially what is on the bike.
Super. Could we cue up the video of the start of a MotoGP race, and not actually start it playing yet? I just want to get up. So this is a start. I think it's from last season. You know better than I. I'd like to roll it and just, there's no sound, but just have you kind of say, maybe you can tell us right now what you're thinking and what's happening.
I don't know what you're thinking. It's just try to, now you're focused on the breaking point, and it's difficult to find the right breaking point, because especially in the first, especially for the first corner, it's difficult to get you don't have the best braking performance, because we're using carbon brakes, and the best braking performance you have between 400 to 600 degrees, and they are not in a high temperature for the first corner. So you have to brake earlier than normal, and you have to brake with a little bit of a safety gap, and but you don't want to lose the place or something like this. So you brake, you open, you brake again, you open again. So 2-3 times, and but you're so focused. I don't know what to think in that moment. Just to concentrate and to don't make any mistake. To don't do stupid things to disturb some other riders. To be fair, but also aggressive.
Very interesting. Why don't we also, let's keep going and learn more about braking and cornering, because everything I read and watch about MotoGP, that seems to be the place where you put together a really quick lap. Could we also cue up the cornering video, please? So this is a slow motion video. This is not Stefan, but this is someone who used to ride for LCR. So we'll be watching him. Could you talk about what's happening with the bike, and again, what you're doing in a corner like this?
Basically, it doesn't look so difficult. I mean, sure. This is it's a really good camera, it's a really good corner, and it's a really good, everything is perfect. I think the rider is quite talented, and the lean angle is just because the tires are really, really good. No, the package is just, it's difficult to explain. This is MotoGP.
So, but when you're in the equivalent position, which I can't imagine being in, but how do you learn from the limit? I mean, what is it? How do you know when you're getting there or getting past it, and then how do you go back and say, next time, I'll do it a little differently?
Yes.
What's that like for you?
Okay, he already did this job, 5 or a couple of years, and if I arrive to a circuit, especially when I jumped the first time to the MotoGP bike in Malaysia, I always was nervous, and it's not that you jump on the bike and do this corner. So it will take time. For example, I started with a lap time of 2 minutes 20. The next lap is 2 minutes 15. The next lap is 2 minutes 10. And this is the way you start. And then you work on the bike. You work on your seat position. You work on every single detail. Then you check the data together with the mechanics, and it's difficult to explain, but you get used to the tires, you get used to everything, and then it's coming more and more natural, and you're getting more and more confidence, and then this is the way it goes.
So you just get confident in getting the limit, and you know what that's like, and you can get back there, it sounds like.
But for sure, you have to. I think this is coming from there. If you have a good feeling in the back, and everywhere to just feel when the tire starts to slide, especially in the front, and to feel the limit. I think this is the most important thing in MotoGP, because if you crash every weekend twice or more, then you, for sure this can happen, but this should be not normal, and this should be especially will be not good for Lucio's money, for Lucio's pocket.
Well, speaking of Lucio, maybe again this idea of getting to the limit for the team as well. You wouldn't have been able to have a team last this long and do so well without knowing how to help people. I guess deal with failure. When something goes wrong on the team, or there's a crash, or just a bad race, what do you do to learn from that as a team so you get better in the future?
Well, there is, of course, technical implication, technical analyzing that we are trying to do every time, we have a failure, we have a crash. And also there is the human side of the rider. So from my side, from my point of view, it's very important that the whole team, including the rider, is understood the way and why, the reason we had that kind of problem, or that kind of crash. So for me, it's very important every time when the rider, for example, cannot get an explanation, it's very important for the rider mind, to try to find explanations. So we are trying to analyze all the data, and thanks to the support of our engineer, we try to understand the reason. In MotoGP, we are quite lucky because we have plenty of sensors that we can have a clear idea about what's happening. For example, we have, of course, a speed sensor, front speed sensor, rear speed sensor. We have a suspension sensor. We have a chattering sensor. We have a angle sensor. We have a banking sensor. We have a accelerometer. We have a lot of sensors. So thanks to the data recording, thanks to the software, we try to understand the reason why the rider crashed. So sometimes we find that the rider arrived too fast in that corner, or it was too wide where maybe there was some dirty, or he used too much brake pressure, or the front suspension touched the limit. Then we try to give this explanation to the rider, and we try to improve our bike setup. And because I was a rider, I try all the time to not complain to the rider because he made damage, or he made problems to my wallet.
So it's very interesting. It sounds like you're practicing the old management maxim of if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So you're trying to measure everything and say, let's
Absolutely.
find the root cause and then avoid it because we know exactly what that was.
Absolutely. We measure everything, and also we record everything. And every time when we have a failure, we make a small internal report, and we keep in our black book. And then every time we go back on racing in same racetrack, or whenever we can, we just try to get the benefit from that bad experience.
That's great. So it sounds like you're learning where the limit is, recording it, and then the team grows from there.
Yeah.
I'd like to move a little bit. We've been talking about risk in terms of the team risk and you on the track, things that are under your control. I think part of racing that's probably somewhat scary and also very interesting is there's other people around you, right? And they're all trying to win. So I'm curious for you, Stefan, how do you deal with things that are happening in front of you? How do you prepare for the who knows what's going to happen to this guy, and you want to get by him. You're committed, but you're leaving some room. How do you deal with what's happening in front of you on the track, the unexpected?
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult if you arrive to a corner with a lot of speed, and basically, if you want to overtake somebody, you cannot do in 1 second. You plan it, and we all are professional in the World Championship, so we all know, we all have some experience to make a move and to overtake or to react. I think everybody we don't have problems with speed. I mean, this is the first thing that we can handle with speed. Our eyes are really, I mean, we react really quick, and the first thing is that we know what we handle. We can handle, I know the bike, everything is working how I know. I got used to the bike, and then I have more concentration to my racetrack in front of me, and also to the rest of the field. And if I want to make a overtaking, I go out of the slipstream, or I just plan it a few seconds before I do. And if some unexpected things happen, for sure I'm able to react. And I mean, okay, if you do a mistake in a race, we have, like I explained, we have big runoff areas, so normally this is not a big problem. For sure the race is finished, or you lose the position, but you will not be hurt.
So you just spoke a lot about what you can do. I'm also interested in, are there more social aspects to being on track with the other riders? I mean, I assume that none of you wants to back off, right? You're all there to win, and plus you have adrenaline going, and you're in the middle of the race. But I mean, what's the bond between riders? Do you talk to each other about, before races, like, here's how we're going to deal with this corner, or is that not something that happens, or what's the bond between riders?
Yeah, we speak a little bit about general life in the paddock, but not really deep, We are concurrent, and everybody wants to be the best. So yeah. We're not talking about suspension, or we're just talking about the track and the situation, maybe the weather, and everybody has to do his own job, but as I said, we are all professional. If I see, for example, I'm slower than somebody else, and I try to go with him. But if I see he's a lot faster, I cannot make a stupid move to him and just to block him or something. For me, it's really difficult to explain, because I just do in that second what I want to do, and what I mean is the right things to do. And this is not a general. There is no really general answer.
Yeah, I hope my questions aren't screwing up your career by making you think. That'd be really bad. We have all the safety gear around us. Could you talk about some of the innovations that have happened recently? There's some hidden things happening in your suit that I don't think most people are aware of, like the system to protect your neck and back.
Yes, there is an airbag integrated in the back of the leather suit, which I activate when I close my, what's the name? The
zipper.
Yes. Then there's one light on my right arm, and the airbag is integrated in the back. And I don't know how does it work, but when I crash, when I have a strange move with my body, and I get out of the bike, the airbag is open or become open when and secures the arms, the chest, the neck, the little bit of the back, basically this area here. And this is I think the most the biggest innovation in the last couple of years.
And you've fallen off the bike with both pre and with the airbag. I mean, what is it? How big of a difference does it make to the way you feel the next day, having the airbag in there?
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Also, there is some you jump on the bike and there is something. If you crash, it helps you. It's like in the normal car. Every car has an airbag today, so it's just a good feeling to be more safe. And this is for sure that this will improve in the future, and this is the right direction.
So I'd like to ask you, Lucio. You've literally been racing since before Stefan was born. So what have you seen happen with safety, and especially what's happening now? We spoke a little bit about some of the developments that your team is looking at in terms of helping the rider be at a higher level of performance.
Well, in every sport discipline, there are a lot of development also in the athletic point of view. I mean, in the athletic performances and the athletic preparation. By our side, we try to, let's say, to continue our research in how we can support our riders in having the best preparation as possible. Recently, we started a collaboration with Qatar Science and Technology Park, and we are testing with them some kind of device that it calls RASAT. Is just a concentration of different devices that are able to record a lot of body data in order to measure the body strengths. And thanks to the analyzing of the body strengths, we are able to understand more about, which kind of rider preparation we can suggest to the rider. For example, while you race a motorbike, you are, for example, your heart rate is not constant because your heart rate has some peak when the rider is braking, when the rider is picking up the bike and changing direction, because he's making a lot of effort. And there is some kind of, relax for a few seconds of relax because the rider is on the straight, And for example, the body temperature is affected because the rider is well protected by the rider leathers, And we of course the level of the sweat it's quite important. So we have some kind of dehydration, So we try to suggest the rider how much he has to drink, how much carbohydrate, he has to eat before the race. We did some kind of research in at this moment in how the head temperature is going during the race. So we understood that we reach even more than 50 degrees inside of the helmet in a special hot environment. And we know that there is, scientific proofs that after 44, 45 degrees of head temperature, the brain cognitive is going down. So now we are just making ourselves a small project with a cooled helmet. Is just a prototype that is able to keep your hypothalamic area a little bit cooler. And we use Peltier cell to prepare this helmet, and we are trying now to continue our research to, let's say, to try to cool the head temperature during the race in order to try to provide the best brain cognitive function for until the end of the race, in a special hot environment.
So for all the Stanford professors and researchers here, I was really excited talking with Lucio before this because the Revs program is starting to instrument drivers and get biometrics as they're driving. And his team is doing this as well with motorcycles and riders. And I think that's a really nice serendipitous meeting. And it looks like that's a nice area for further development. Before we go to the Q&A session, I want to ask Lucio one more question about, we're already talking about technology for riders and Peltier cells in the helmet and pretty wild stuff. Where do you think racing needs to go, where motorsports needs to go, and MotoGP specifically, in regards to technology and its development?
Well, I believe that historically motorsport was always providing, the right platform to develop technologies, for all the manufacturers and involved manufacturers. And I believe that the future must be, let's say, focused in developing technologies for, let's say, keeping in mind the social responsibilities, which are, for example, human safety and environment. I believe that this will be the main focus for the future, If you look, for example, Formula One, what is doing right now is developing, new technology rules where the engine capacity is going down, will be very, very limited because, all the automotive industries nowadays wish to have engine with more efficiency and possibly the engines, combustion engines combined with electrical engines, with, for example, gas technologies. And I believe that in the long future, in the future, even in MotoGP, we will see maybe, the manufacturers that will be more interested in developing high efficiency engines, maybe with a small capacity and maybe turbocharged, maybe with some electrical devices. This is just my opinion.
So Stefan, how does that sound to you? A turbo internal combustion motor with electric turbo boost? I think you can do some good wheelies with that.
I have no idea about this. I just it feels great to have 250 horsepower, and I need to handle it. That's my job.
Okay, so more power is always a good thing. So thank you for your Q&A questions. We've already seen some themes come out of this, so we'll do a combination. I'll ask a few of these questions, and we'll take a few from the audience as well. Sound good? I'll ask a few of these first. Stefan, here's a great question for you. What's the most valuable piece of advice that your father ever gave you, as one racer to another? What's the best advice he gave you?
Keep cool.
Keep cool.
No, I mean, just do what you can. Don't go over your limit. And as long as you feel comfortable, it's fine. And that's what he told me.
That seems to be something you see in top echelon racing all the time. Is at your level, it's really about emotional control, and everybody's got the skill, but it's who can stay cool enough to keep it right at the limit and not go over, do something silly.
This is difficult to find the perfect combination and to find the right balance. Sometimes this is the key to win.
Great, and here's an interesting question. This might be for a good question for an engineer from LCR, perhaps. I'll let you think about whether you want to answer this or not, or maybe you should start. Will we ever see on-the-fly telemetry where the bike is reporting back data during the race and the pit crews are pushing updated mappings to the bike during the race? Or is that already happening, or what's the...
Brian?
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I think as a data engineer, it's dangerous maybe not to include the rider in that sort of decision making without him knowing what's going on first. It's a process where we talk with him, he talks with us, and we make the decision together.
So you don't want to be shocking him with,
No.
here's an additional 50 horsepower. It sounds like you would like that. How about a question from the audience, especially around the theme? I want to ask you a thematic question, though, first, about this idea of risk and getting to the limit. Yes.
I have a question, and it's kind of a corollary to that question. Is, do you ever have a situation where the data is telling you one thing and the rider feedback is at odds with it? You know, it's telling you the opposite. And if so, how do you deal with that? Especially like maybe during qualifying or something like that.
So the question is, I think at the heart of your question is, you know, what we've been talking a lot about using data and managing via data. What happens when the data is saying one thing and Stefan's saying another thing? What do you do?
I mean, I think I'm the
Debate,
one who decides.
No. It's the opposite. No.
Try to find a combination. I mean, this is
This is
not
what we
normal.
are telling you.
Yeah. It's not normal when the data says this and I will tell completely the opposite. So for sure, it's not always the same, but we try to find a combination. And but in general, I guess I'm the boss, and I'm riding the bike, so I want to have. Or Brian, what do you think? I mean,
No, I think the rider's feeling for the bike is perhaps the most important, above and beyond any data and anything that we as engineers maybe feel. He's the guy that's got his ass on the seat, so he's the guy we have to listen to, and he has to feel comfortable.
So here's another question that's come in several times, and I'd like both of you to answer it from your different perspectives. Is electronic aids in racing, you know, traction control, stability control, whatever it might be, what's their role in racing? And does it add to the challenge as a rider? Does it make it different? Does it take away from it? You want to start, Stefan?
I think with these engines today, without the electronic help, will be very difficult to complete one corner.
Wow, it's that dramatic.
I mean, yes, for sure, we will go slower and slower.
Uh-huh.
We have more power, but we cannot go faster. We cannot use the power. So the electronic is there to help to reduce the power in the moment when you don't. For example, you just need 20% of power. So it's not like you exit the corner or you prepare the bike for the exit of the corner and you go from 0 to 100% of throttle. This is not possible, and this is also not natural. So I still open quite smooth, and but as soon as the tire gets too much spinning, we reduce 7, 8, or maximum 20% of traction control, and still I have to handle with my feeling, and the same in the wheelie control. The most problems we have in 3rd, 4th, and 5th gear with wheelie, so we just reduce 5-6% of power to keep the bike down with the front wheel, and similar with engine brake.
How about your perspective as a team owner? Do these things help the racing? Do they help the show, the spectacle?
Well, for sure, from the spectator point of view, there are a lot of spectators that, complain or are missing, the big slide outside of the corner, the big wheel, But this is something that, we have to be, realistic. If we want to be faster and safer, we need absolutely the support of the electronics, or we need the support of the traction control. Basically, thanks to the introduction of the 4-stroke engines, we have much more possibility to quick control the power, and all the major motorsport manufacturers develop their own traction control, and Honda is one of the leaders, company in the world that develop one of the most sophisticated traction control that allow the rider to, to be very fast and to be as well very safe. So we, despite, we don't see any more big slide or big wheeling or whatever. For us, of course, we have to be professional. We have to be serious. We need to think about the rider safety, and second, we need to look about the performances. So thanks to the traction control, both options are there. So let's go in that direction. And all those technologies, more and more, are applied in the production series, and for the end consumers. And this is a tremendous, benefit for the community,
So it sounds like both of you are very pro technology, make it more sophisticated, and just kind of bring it on.
Absolutely.
That sounds great. So I think we'll have time for maybe 1 or 2 more Q&As, but before we do that, I need to announce something very special, which is, probably most of you saw it, there was a sign up to win a very, very tasty carbon fiber, custom painted Red Bull Laguna Seca helmet. There it is. If you didn't get to see it, it's too late to sign up. But we selected a winner at random, Price Waterhouse. Not really. And the winner is Riley. No, it's Dave. I hope I don't mispronounce this. Jevons. Dave Jevons.
Yeah.
There he is. So congratulations for that. There he is. All right. Right on. I hope you enjoy that thing.
Congratulations.
And thank you to Red Bull for bringing that. So.
Thanks for coming to this event too. It's been super awesome. Thank you. Great event.
Right on. So who's gonna end this on a high note? No pressure, but the ultimate question to bring all the things together. How about the gentleman here, right here?
So here's a hypothetical for you. It's the final lap. You're in second place. Both bikes are set up identically. And you have to push this idea of what the limit of what the edge is. The rider in front of you has identically fast equipment. What goes through your mind when you're trying to incrementally go on that final lap to push the edge or push the
Aggressivity.
Yeah. Is there anywhere in particular that you feel most comfortable in it in terms of rear traction or front steering or something that you feel is your special sauce?
Especially also not only in the last lap of a race, it's more important. It's more important to do a really fast lap in a qualifying. That's what for me is not a problem, but what I always need to think about and to tell myself, don't brake too late. Just prepare the corner as you be precise as possible and try to use the power on the exit of the corner, because we have so much power, and if you brake too late, you miss the apex of the corner, you struggle, you lose too much time till the next few hundred meters of straight. So just better to brake a little bit earlier, try to be really precise, try to get the apex perfectly, and then pick up the bike and use the power. And as soon as we stop to spin on the edge of the tire, to pick up the bike, to get a perfect drive out of the corner, this is where we can win time. And this also is the best opportunity to make overtaking to the rider for the next corner. Also, the slipstream can help you a little bit, but with these bikes, the slipstream is not that big anymore.
So we've reached our time. There was 3 things we have to do before we can all get up and go enjoy the rest of our week and get to Laguna Seca. One is we need to thank the whole LCR team, and I'd like to give them a big cheer for the weekend, just to give them good luck. And then, as the moderator of this, I get the last word. So we are going to roll a really great video, if we can cue that up. And we should turn up the volume on that one because it's gnarly and it's awesome and it's a Honda motor. So let's rev that up. I just want to end on a quote from Steve Matchett. Some of you may know him. He is a Speed TV Formula One commentator for the U.S., former Benetton Formula One mechanic. He's a writer and I think a great philosopher. And he wrote something I thought very poignant about risk and going for it in response to some of the events from last season in MotoGP. And here's what he said, and I thought we'd just end on this and then let's roll that video. He said, between the unknowns of birth and death, it is our love and courage, the banishment of fear, that decides if we really lived. So let's go out and all do it and roll that video. Thank you, guys. Great. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Yeah.